When gym owners hire me to deep dive into their gym, I consistently see the same mistakes over and over and over, even in seven-figure gyms. Today, I'm going to break down the most common problems I see, and I'll offer you some suggestions for how you might go about fixing them. My name is Mark Fisher from Business for Unicorns, and we are on a mission to help gym owners build a gym and a life they love. And if you're interested in finding out more about what we do, you can click any of the zillions of links in the description box below. Now, before we dig into how I think about auditing, I just want to share context really does matter here. So one of the things that's been most fun for me over the past several months, being a gym business nerd, is I have started offering tons of these deep dives, both to individual gym owners that will hire our company to work with me for a full day or a half day, as well as, importantly, members of our Leadership Society. So the Leadership Society is a cohort in our coaching group, the Unicorn Society, of gym owners that have been vetted to make a substantial amount of income, have owned their gym for a little bit, and have a strong number two in place and are really looking to do big things with their life and their career and their business. These individuals are pretty far along in their journey, and it's a lot of fun for me. And I gotta tell you, one thing is almost always true when I audit members of our Leadership Society. That is that for the most part, if I'm going in like a doctor and I'm looking at the blood pressure and I got my stethoscope and I'm running the labs and I'm looking at their cholesterol, what is true is all of their gym health biomarkers are pretty good. And sometimes I find some, like a number or two that's a little bit squirrely, or maybe a strategy that in a vacuum I would just say is wrong, is not gonna work. And for this gym owner, it works. So this is the hard part about creating content like this. I have to speak in a vacuum. I have to talk about the typical gym owner and the typical situation most of the typical times. And of course, that's not everyone. But I will give you two follow-ups before we dig on into this. The first is, if you're interested in working with me personally to look over all your numbers and help assess, can we make some changes? Or perhaps you want to keep going your own way because it's working for you, you can just send us a DM on Instagram, the word mentorship, and I'll be happy to tell you more about what that might look like. The second thing I must say is a little bit of tough love, because although I want to start with acknowledging context does matter, I also don't want to give you a mental excuse to do things that are not helping you. So here's how we're going to think about this. If you are happy with your gym, you're happy with your life, you're very happy with the money you're making, things are growing, they're growing at a pace you feel good about, you feel like your clients are taken care of, like things are going amazing. You have my permission to ignore any of these numbers and these audits that are not up to the standards that I would suggest. On the other hand, if you are not happy with how your gym is going, if you're working too many hours, if you're feeling stressed, if you're not making enough revenue, if you're not keeping enough income, if you feel like you're not consistently doing awesome work with your clients, then I'm going to suggest we should at least consider some of these best practices that I'm going to offer you today. So when we're thinking about audits, this admittedly is a sliver, again, of a lot of things I could look at, but we're going to keep it high level. I'm going to give you some goodies today. And I think about these audit goodies in two different buckets. We got the things that we're doing too little of and the things we're doing too much of. So we'll start with the too little bucket. For a lot of gym owners, your prices are too low. I love you so much. You're a good person. But the reality is, if you charge below market rates in a given market, and you're just hoping to make it up with the volume, which, by the way, might not be possible for the model you offer to service that many clients, or at the very least is not realistic just because of the sales and marketing prowess required to scale up the gym to that degree, then the whole thing is not going to work, right? So the very first thing we need to understand is, will this math ever math? Now, it is beyond the scope of today's conversation to give specific recommendations, because how much you're going to charge does depend a little bit on your market, your model, your coach to client ratio, etc. And if you want more help on how to raise your rates, click the link in the description box for the Raise Your Rates playbook. We just updated. I think we made some very good improvements, and you can just rip it off. The second too little item is too little time spent on marketing. Now, listen, there's somebody said for doing things well. There's somebody said for choosing the right marketing channels. That's all true. But at the end of the day, the foundational element here is how much time and effort you're putting on your marketing. So if I were to force you to track how much time each week you are focusing on activities that are going to generate new leads and drive business, if you're only working on this for 20, 30 minutes per week, that's a problem, right? Now, again, I'm not trying to tell you what the exact amount is. It's always going to vary, unfortunately, but it's going to be more than 30 minutes. And for some of you, it might be 10 to 15 hours per week, particularly if you're not yet good at the things you're doing, because you're going to have to make up your, with love, lack of quality by having sufficient quantity. The third too little is too little money on marketing. So, okay, let's say we're spending an adequate amount of time, but we're not really spending any money on marketing. That too can present an issue. Now, listen, I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to do paid ads. Far from. In fact, I think earlier stage gym owners in a perfect world should be able to scale up to at least a decent amount of active clients just through being really good. In fact, I think it's probably underappreciated that organic word of mouth should be able to get you kind of far, or it might suggest that there's something we need to look at with the service. However, at a certain point, we are going to want to augment the time and energy you're spending on your marketing with things that cost money. Certainly paid ads are a piece of this, but it can also be things like spending money on local business partners to work on joint ventures together. It might be even a direct mail campaign, which, by the way, in some markets can still work great. But however you slice it, if you don't have enough leads, you have to spend more of something. It might be more time, more energy, more money, or maybe all three. Number 4, too little clarity on how the prospect should get started. So listen, if I drive 1,000 leads to your website right now, what percentage of them are going to know exactly that they are the right fit for what you offer, the right kind of person? They're clear that the outcomes that you create in your facility are exactly what they want. And importantly, they're clear on exactly what to do next. When you look at a website, or for that matter, an Instagram profile, it should be immediately obvious who you help, the outcomes you create, and importantly, exactly what they should do next. Too often, I look at websites and it's not really clear what I'm supposed to be doing as a visitor. And I'll just say as a side note, by the way, please don't build your own website because you think you're saving money by bartering with your delightful client. But understand a lot of showing up in Google searches is technically how the site loads. So that stuff really matters. If I were in your shoes, I probably would have a vendor handle that for me. Related, there are too few pictures and stories about clients that are relatable and aspirational. And both of these matter, right? And I'm talking stories and pictures on your Instagram, on your website, in your email marketing, in your lead follow-up, stories and pictures of clients that are two things, aspirational and relatable. They want to be aspirational, right? The types of pictures, of images, of stories your clients look at and they think, wow, I would like to do that. That looks cool. But here's the trick. They also want to be relatable, right? So you don't want to show probably the super ripped bodybuilder. You don't want to show the person who lost 150 pounds. It's not that you can't show that. And those are people who are cool. We love those people. But you got to think from the perspective of your average prospect and the avatar that you're building your business for. They want to see someone that is aspirational. They aspire to not necessarily even look like, but they just like the cut of their jib. They like their vibe. They like their energy. They like the certain joie de vivre they seem to present life with. And it feels like, oh, but I could actually see myself doing that. It feels relatable. So let's say you do this all right? You're spending time and money on your marketing. You got a good model. Your website makes sense. When people go to the website, they go to your Instagram, they're seeing these very moving and inspiring pictures of aspirational, relatable clients. So then they opt in. Now what? Well, for too many gym owners, then we do too little to no follow-up with the leads, right? So the person raises their hand and they say they're interested. We have to follow up with them. We have to follow up with them quickly, ideally in the first 5 minutes. I deal with a double phone call. And then for the first couple days, frequently, because people are busy. And particularly if you're doing a paid ad strategy, people with love, I love you a lot. It's hard to hear it. I love you a lot. Well, they're going to forget they've been opted in. And they're going to be annoyed that you're calling them a day later and you're going to be like, you opted in. Why are you yelling at me? Why are you giving me a hard time? Because you didn't call them right away. They're busy. Have you ever opted into something on Facebook? No? Yes, you did. You just forgot. That's my point. You know what else we do too little? Too little follow-up with the old leads. So if my last comment was too little follow-up with the new leads, we do too little follow-up with the old leads. Somebody that has raised their hand and said they're interested, but didn't come through right away, but hasn't declined and hasn't told you they're not interested, is still somebody we should be talking to. So we should be periodically going back to this list with some sort of offer on some sort of regular basis, hoping that maybe now is the right time, right? Because when people opt in but don't come in, it's not that they hate you. It's not that they've changed their mind. They don't want to work out. I mean, sometimes, yeah, maybe they did find another solution. But listen, a lot of people aren't working out. You know what happened more often than not? Their kid got sick, or they got yelled at by their boss, or fill in the blank. So I think part of our job is being there again and again, because people don't buy when we're ready. They buy when they're ready. Another too little. too little time developing your team's skills. So obviously this one doesn't matter until you have more than just you on the team. But the reality is the product, the service, like what we're offering people really, really matters. I'll go back to something I said earlier, which is that in a perfect world, you're going to get some critical mass just from organic word of mouth. And in fact, if you're not getting some regular referral flow, it suggests that the service isn't where it needs to be. So let's assume you've got some owner juice, new, low calories, meaty. Okay, that was strange. So let's assume you have owner juice, trademark, all rights reserved. Ultimately, at some point, you are going to have other people on your team offering the services in a way that's consistent and effective. So we have to be spending time, and I would probably push on this, I'd say like every week. It doesn't necessarily need to be a one-on-one with every trainer every single week, but on some regular basis, and you decide how to do it, you have to be putting love, care, and attention into that team to help them grow and develop, to make sure that they're really honoring the SOPs consistently, to make sure they're getting better as coaches, to make sure they stay motivated and interested in the shared mission that you all have. So we got to be spending the time developing the team and making them better every single day. And finally, too little time thinking strategically about the business. So when I think about our role as the CEO of the gym, there's really three big buckets I think we're responsible for. We have to think about strategy, growing the business, and leadership, developing the team. For the strategy bucket, you do have to, on a periodic basis, step out of your business, look at all the numbers, think about all the things you could do, assess how the things that you are doing are going, assess the results that you're getting, consider what tweaks we might make. Now, listen, I'm not suggesting that every day you should be thinking big picture strategy about the business. Like, you got to make the donuts, right? A lot of your job is going to be working in the business, and for a typical small business, that's okay, that's fine. But once in a while, maybe once a week, I think it's important to step out of the business, to look at your numbers, to look at results, assess the current strategy you're employing, and then just decide, are things going in the right direction? And if not, what might we change to move things to go where you want to go? And now, too many things. The things in the too much bucket. Too much, number one, is too much time consuming Instagram content. You're on Instagram too much. I love you a lot. But a lot of gym owners really confuse activity with achievement here. So first of all, one of my hot takes, which you might have heard, I'll say it here. I don't care. I'll say it here. I think Instagram is really overrated for gyms. Listen, you got to post enough that it looks like you're open, but there are far and few gym owners that are really able to say, I have a very good strategy that reliably generates actual leads here. It's just kind of a feel-good thing that gives you something to do. And we have to do better than just feel-good things that give us something to do. So again, yes, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be on Instagram. Your profile has to make it very clear, prospects visit, who you help, outcomes you create, what to do. People should scroll up and down and be able to see relatable and aspirational pictures, stories, and images. And importantly, it should look like the lights are on. But a lot of gym owners think they're working on their marketing, and they're just in that doom scroll. They're scrolling down the Instagram, and they're watching I don't know whatever you watch. What do you kids watch these days? I don't do a lot of Instagram. You watch cats? Is it cats? Cats? So listen, you can be on there, but I think the most valuable way to use Instagram as a gym owner is just start some DMs, right? It's very cliche, but conversations equal conversions, right? So start conversations, greet people, just be friendly, be cool, right? Be cool, say hello to people, start convos, and don't spend a ton of time saying you're working on your marketing, but really you're just consuming Instagram content. The second too much is too much. Oh, this one hurts. Too much square footage. And here's why this hurts. Because real talk, again, this happens a lot of time. I start doing these audits, right? And these people have signed, very long, onerous leases. And they have, in some cases, 3 times more space than they need. They're never going to need it to service the revenue. Getting extra space when you get your lease is not something you want to get. Sure, just maybe I'll need it, nice to have. The only 2 big levers you have to improve your profitability of your gym is to get your payroll right and to get your rent factor right. Now, the reality is, all is not lost. So first of all, if you're watching this and you haven't opened up a gym, go to businessunicorns.com/courses, scroll down and check out our newest course, Open Strong, and I can help you avoid these mistakes before they happen. Now, assuming you're in a situation and you're like, oh no, I'm spending way more than I should on rent, right? The percentage of my rent is so high. Well, you can, in some situations, just like talk to the landlord about it. Maybe you can subdivide the space. Maybe you can sublease the space. All is not lost. And listen, sometimes, yeah, you do just have to grind through it. But in a perfect world, we don't actually want more square footage, even if the actual price of the rent is comparable, because it's more square footage to maintain, it's more furniture and equipment you need, it's more to clean, it's more to heat and to air condition. We want, in fact, the least amount of space we can get away with. Another too many is too many session times. So a lot of times I look at the utilization of a given gym, and the owners are, in some situations, mystifying me. I love you so much, are thinking about, I think I need to get a new location, or I need to open up because we're so busy. And it turns out they are filled sometimes on Monday at 6:30 p.m. And that's not going to do it. Now, the exact utilization ratios, again, they're a little bit beyond the scope of this YouTube. Happy to chat with you one-on-one if you want to reach out to me. But in practice, we shouldn't have lots of sessions if you, let's say, offer classes with one coach and 15 clients. If most of those sessions are 3 to 5 to 6 people, just not going to work, right? And at a minimum, what it means is you are spending more time on the floor than you should be as the owner, which is taking you away from the other things that would drive your business. And it might also mean that your payroll is higher than it needs to. You're paying people to do sessions that aren't really valuable. And not only that, but I'll say briefly, if you're doing classes that really get you in trouble, frankly, the small group model, which is more like one-on-one in a small group, you can get away with it a little bit more being undercrowded. Classes, that's like a wet fart. Like, who wants to eat at the restaurant? Nobody's there. It's just you. It's just you. Chicken soup. Chicken soup for the soul. Another too many services. I love you. Gym owners, I love you. And by the way, like all these things, maybe not all of these, but most of these things I've done, right? It's like, I'm here with you. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I love you a lot. Sometimes I'll be like, so what services do you offer? And you'll be like, well, I offer large group classes, small group personal training, one-on-one, duo training, open access gym, sports performance, daycare, nutrition coaching. Stop the madness. It's too much. It's too many things. It's too many things. One thing I've seen again and again is any gym that has a scale, particularly if you ever want multiple locations, you got to pick one thing and be world class at it. Related, many gyms have too much in the way of membership terms, too many membership terms. So maybe we do have one model, right? And you're like, Mark, you're going to love me, Mark. I got small group personal training. That's all I offer. It's a tight little 4-on-1 model. The pricing is great. You're going to love it. I'm like, amazing. Okay, cool. Great. Tell me about your membership terms. And you're like, well, we have 1 time a week, 2 time a week, 3 time a week, 4 time a week, 5 time a week. And depending on how long you want to train, I'll offer you different rates. Would you like to commit for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? And of course, I'm being a flippant jerk. I'm exaggerating. Nobody does that. But in practice, if you add up all of these various service offerings and the various frequencies and terms of length commitment, it's not uncommon for me to see gyms, I'm not exaggerating, with 30 plus services. By the way, this guy did it. By the way, this guy did it. Now again, I wouldn't say it's wrong necessarily. And frankly, if you happen to have an enormous yacht of a gym that is doing massive volume, that you're willing to handle the operational drag, it's fine. Again, I'm not telling you to do, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm not in charge of your life. I am saying, however, that it's going to be very hard for you to scale that if you want more locations. And there are simpler, easier ways to run the business that still provide amazing value for the clients without you losing your mind. And finally, the final too much investment on things the clients don't care about. This could include, but not be limited to, amenities the clients don't care about, or perhaps platforms, the tech solutions the clients don't really care about, or the most common one, of course, is buying tons of fancy, shiny equipment that the clients don't care about. Now, listen, by all means, we can and should invest on things. We should invest on our own education. We should invest on developing our team. We should invest on paying people well enough that you can have a high quality of service. But too often, owners invest in things that they think are fun and they're interested in that have marginal, if any, an impact on the quality and results of their clients. So taken together, you might be asking, well, what is the impact of all of this too little and too much? Too many hours worked, too much stress, too few clients, too little profit, too little income, too little freedom, too little free time, and I'm starting to run out of fingers. But the good news is, listen, it doesn't have to be that way. There's solves for all of this. It's literally what I do all day long is help people solve these issues. And again, if it helps to hear, I've done most of these wrong, right? Let me reiterate. A lot of these I've learned because I've done the hard way. So hopefully I can spare you by taking some of the arrows in my throat so you can make better, faster decisions more quickly. So if you would like our help and you'd like to spend some time with me personally auditing your things, I'd love to connect. You can go to go.businessunicorns.com/brainstorm, or you can click the link in the description box below. And if it's not the right time to have a chat, there is more free Business Unicorn stuff at your disposal. You can click the link below to get my free book on gym marketing, to follow our podcast, to follow us on Instagram, and of course, subscribe to us on this here YouTube channel. I may also suggest if you're in a binging mood and you like this topic, why not check out my video on why your gym is stuck at $30K per month and how to fix it. All right, pals, I will see you next time where I'll offer you another video where I will share more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.